In today's video, we will be heading back to Utah for a little vacation during my spring break. Now, we would start off in Middletown because I had some time to kill before my flight, and I didn't really want to make a separate video for this part. Our first train of the day would be Amtrak 770 heading to San Diego. This having SC44 Charger 2109 leading. This also had P42C 9700 trailing. Next up would be Coaster 633 heading to Oceanside with SC44 Charger 5008 leading. Next up would be a slightly late Coaster 632 heading to San Diego with Cab Car 2306 leading. Our final train of the day would be 777 heading to San Luis Obispo with Cab Car 6905 in the lead. After getting through TSA, I boarded my Alaska Airlines flight, which happened to have an E-175. We took off not too long later. After a quick flight, we landed in Salt Lake City around 30 minutes earlier than expected, which was pretty nice so I can get some extra sleep. This would conclude day 1. Day 2 would start off with me getting up at 3:50 in the morning, holy crap, I'm insane, and taking the earliest train out of Ogden to go to Layton. After a quick bus ride, I transferred to my FrontRunner, which had Cab Car 101 leading. We departed right on time and made it to Layton 20-ish minutes later. After I got off, we see our first train, which was a northbound FrontRunner heading to Ogden with MP36-7 leading. About 10 minutes later, MWC and P rolled on through with UP 8821 leading. Right after that, the 6 a.m. frontrunners came into Layton, with the southbound frontrunner having 117 leading and the northbound frontrunner having 9 leading. Our next train would be a pretty fast ZG2 SC with UP 5726 leading. Next up would be the 6:30 a.m. frontrunners, with the northbound frontrunner having 11 leading and the southbound frontrunner having 106 leading. Our next train would be a very early and short IO ANP, this having UP 5688 leading. Next up were the 7 a.m. FrontRunners, with the southbound one having 104 leading and the northbound one having 6 leading. Next up were the 7:30 a.m. FrontRunners, with the southbound one having 109 leading and the northbound one having 16 leading. Both of these had pretty good engineers as well. Me and a friend of mine, which was Wasatch Railfan, walked down to the Gentile Street Railroad crossing. Our next trains would be the 8 a.m. FrontRunners, with the southbound one having 102 leading and the northbound one having 10 leading. Our next train would be ZSCG2 with UP 5763 leading. Next up were the 8:30 a.m. FrontRunners, with the southbound one having 103 leading and the northbound one having 20 leading. The final trains I would see at the crossing would be the 9 a.m. FrontRunners, with the southbound one having 105 leading and the northbound one having 3 leading. After that, I would take the 9:30 a.m. northbound home. This would conclude day 2. Day 3 would start out with me taking the southbound FrontRunner from Ogden to South Jordan to meet up with one of my friends, which ended up being this guy. Now, I didn't really capture too many things that were interesting, so here's some footage of some things I caught that were interesting. First up was the Union Pacific oil train in Clinton/Sunset. While passing North Yard, I ended up getting this Dash 7 while in storage. I have no clue who this owns to, and this will likely be disposed in the future. I also saw IONP roll on through on the south end of North Yard. No clue what the leader was though. After meeting up with Elon, the Southwestern Railfan, we went to a spot he recommended, which was right outside the South Jordan station. This ended up being Jensen Farm Park, which I've never been to, so cool. Our first train there would be a southbound FrontRunner with cab car 109 leading. Next up was a northbound FrontRunner with MP36 7 leading. Next up would actually be, surprisingly, a freight train. I'm actually kind of surprised we caught one today in South Jordan. This ended up being OSJW. Oh my god, my W. This ended up being OSJWU with UP 7470 leading. Our second to last train would be a southbound FrontRunner with cab car 105 leading. Our final train of the day would be a northbound FrontRunner with MP36 18 leading. This also had a really nice crew on it. After that, day 3 would come to a close. Day 4 would honestly be probably the best day of the trip, as me and Elon, the Southwest Railfan, who will now just be referred as Elon, and another friend of ours, who was this guy, headed up to Ogden to go see Big Boy 4014, which was doing its coast-to-coast tour for America's 250th anniversary. Now, since we have a ton of time to kill, we decided to make a pit stop in Layton to catch the ZSCG2. Now, normally, this train does about 60 to 70 miles an hour, but I guess not today, so oh well. This train had UP 2635 leading. Now, for whatever reason, as soon as the crossings went off, it decided to hail like insanely crazy, to the point where it was starting to damage my camera, so I had to put it in a rain cover. And it kept pushing my tripod up, so yeah, this was not a fun catch. Hold my camera, just in case. Alright. Oh, this was a horrible idea. Holy shit.
go now or not?
I'm at it. I'm doing straight. Yeah, we're going. So me, Elon, and Noah, the other guy, decided to say,
this shit, I'm out.
And we decided to dip early. Right before we left, our northbound FrontRunner departed Layton with MP36-7 leading. Now, thankfully, the weather was a lot nicer in Ogden than it was in Layton, and we would start out our day in Ogden with some switching action by UP665. Our next train would be MOGYR, which was departing Ogden bound for Yermo, California. This had UP 8201 leading with a nice crew on it. Immediately after MOGYR came out of view, MNPRV rolled into Ogden with UP 8592 leading. Now, I'm not sure why, but I forgot to film M and P RV departing, so... Anyways, our next train would be yet again another yard movement with an SD70M duo, this having UP 5072 leading. Not too long later, I heard something coming eastbound from the Evanston subdivision. Unfortunately, the yard movement blocked the train, so I have no clue what the leader was. But there was an SD40N 4 out, so that was cool. Now, since it's decided to snow pretty hard, I decided to camp out in Elon's dad's car. Immediately after setting up in Elon's dad's car, IO A and P rolled on by heading to North Platte, Nebraska with UP 7180 leading. After IO A and P rolled on by, I stopped recording to charge my camera and stay warm, because there wasn't really anything interesting going on besides switching jobs that I've already recorded. Jumping about 2 hours later, the moment me and my friends waited finally arrived. With 7,000 horsepower and a crazy loud Hancock free chime whistle, Big Boy 4014 rolls on through Ogden, Utah, 9 minutes after 1 p.m. After that, me and my friends jumped it to the next crossing, which ended up being the Gentile Street River crossing we were just at earlier this morning. It didn't take long before Big Boy 4014 rolled on through. And not gonna lie, this is probably my favorite shot of the chase. We caught up to the Big Boy and its train not too long later on the Interstate 15 near Farmington. We made it to our next spot not too long later, which would be the West 1500 South River Crossing in Woods Cross. We had literally no time to spare. As soon as we got there, we set up our tripods and the train was there. I didn't even have time to get my Canon out. So, oh well. Now, unfortunately, we had a little delay to getting to Salt Lake Central because one of my pieces on my Kodak just decided to fly off for some reason. Luckily, we found it and I got it fixed, so hooray. After that, we rushed over to Salt Lake Central where we caught a southbound FrontRunner pulling into Salt Lake Central with cab car 117 leading.
A lot of them didn't even know. Like the Amtrak lady, she thought it was 5 o'clock. I was like, no,
Eventually, I got into the line to go up close to the Big Boy. After a bit of waiting, I finally got my chance. While taking pictures of Big Boy, a southbound FrontRunner departed Salt Lake Central bound for Provo with cab car 106 leading. While charging my camera, two Union Pacific locals raced each other right through Salt Lake Central. Their first loco was YSC-53 with UP-702 leading. The second local was likely the Wendover local, which I forgot the symbol of. This had UP 4783 leading. I would then hop this northbound FrontRunner down to Woods Cross to pick up some stuff. I would return to Elon's not too long later, and we would be back here around 11 p.m. I'll show you why in a second. We would be back out at Salt Lake Central about 7 hours later to catch the Amtrak California Zephyr. Now normally the California Zephyr just has two normal phase 5 P42s, but this Zephyr was actually pretty special. This California Zephyr ended up having P42 DC number 100, the Midnight Blue Heritage in it, as well as an FRA car. So, yeah, quite the rare train. I ended up getting some night photos of Big Boy 4014, which honestly ended up a lot better than I got in the daytime at Salt Lake Central with that crowd. Yeah, they weren't great. While taking pictures, I got jump scared by a northbound FrontRunner arriving into Salt Lake Central with MP36 8 leading. Next up was the southbound FrontRunner with cab car 103 in the lead. Oh shit, it's departing. Not too long later, the train we wanted to see finally arrived, with P42 DC 100 leading, heading to Emeryville, California. Not gonna lie, seeing these two together looked quite cursed, but it was really cool, honestly. I ended up walking around the train and taking some pictures because this meet will likely never happen again. Me and my friend headed down to the Orange Street Railroad crossing just west of Salt Lake Central. Not too long later, it passed through, heading to its next stop of Elko, Nevada. 5, unfortunately, we wouldn't see some actual trains. But day 5 also brought us to the Spanish Fork train show, which was going on the weekend I was there. So I decided to hitch a ride with Elon. Here's some clips I got of some model trains there. After spending about 5 hours at the train show, me and Elon headed home. This would conclude day 5. Day 6 would bring me down to Madison Park, just south of Salt Lake Central. Now originally I was going to catch Big Boy 4014 here, but the lighting wasn't great. So since the lighting was really bad at Madison Park, I decided to head down to the West 200 South River Crossing just south of Salt Lake Central. Me and my mom ended up getting there just in time as Big Boy 4014 started departing at around 8:57 a.m. Since we couldn't chase Big Boy, I decided to stay behind in Salt Lake Central to catch this northbound FrontRunner, which ended up having MP36 free leading, giving quite the horn show. After that, I would head home. This would conclude day 6. Day 7, I would be riding the FrontRunner down to a friend's house. Now, I wasn't going to originally add this, but I actually caught a couple trains this day, so why not? The first train I'd see besides the FrontRunner I'm riding on would be IO-A&P, which had UP 6783 leading. The next train I would see would actually end up being quite rare, which ended up being an EC-5 move, having UP 6398 leading. After getting off at Woods Cross, I would catch my FrontRunner departing. This would be my last train before heading back to California. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.